First of all, this is such a very fluid situation right now and changing so very quickly. Just a month ago, I don't know if there were any companies that had mandated vaccines for their employees. And as we sit here today, it seems that dozens and dozens every day are doing so. So I'd say the common dynamics we're seeing out there, it would first be that everyone agrees there are three factors to facilitate return to office. First is infections need to go down and stay down. The second is we have to have line of sight to herd immunity. And the third is we have to get schools back in session, as 24 million households in the United States have children who are 12 years old. So looking at the first factor here, how do we get infections down and keep them down? The vaccine is the simplest path to get there. So most companies are either strongly encouraging their employees to get vaccines or requiring them to get vaccines. And most companies that are requiring vaccines have a carve-out, which is if you don't want to get a vaccine, then you must test to come into the offices. I would say those two factors are becoming very, very common across corporate America.
And so it sounds like you are determining or letting the determination be made by your tenants. You are not issuing any types of mandates for your properties. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's up to the tenants themselves to mandate. There are buildings. It would not be an anomaly to say there are buildings that require all the vendors in the buildings to have been vaccinated. Our folks who operate, many owners require that. But for our 60,000 employees and for many, many large corporates that we work with, the idea that either you're vaccinated or you get tested is becoming more the rule than the anomaly.
And lastly, of course, I think everyone is so curious about what commercial space looks like, the supply, the demand. I could actually see an argument for both ways. I could see tenants wanting or needing more space to spread employees out. And then, of course, I could see the opposite, where more employees are staying home, or maybe it's 50-50 and you don't need individual desks for every employee. What is your outlook for what commercial office space will look like going forward?
Yeah, great question. Let me give you a couple data points. First of all, just on vacancies and rent, we believe that vacancies will peak second quarter of 2022 at around 18% for U.S. office stock. We believe rents, which are now down about 10 to 15% across the board, will stay there until probably the first quarter of 2023, but then begin to rise. So the inflection point next year on office space. Here are things we're seeing, though, that lead us to believe that there will be good support for office space in the mid and long term. I'll give you three green shoots. The first is the office job recovery is stunning. We lost 2.3 million jobs between April and May of last year. We've recovered almost all of those back. Second, and very important to us as we watch the office market, tenants are seeing space, touring space, 80% more than they were a year ago. And the third is that those tenants that are writing leases now are writing them for normal lease terms. In other words, last year, tenants were kicking the can down the road a year or two, doing a 1 or 2 year lease. Today, we're seeing traditional 2019, pre-2019 lease terms of somewhere between 7 and 10 years. So those things tell us that major corporates, although they haven't yet decided possibly whether they're going to be full hybrid, partially hybrid, rotating shifts, they have concluded that whatever they on a square footage they required pre-pandemic.